involved. Get involved, get involved. Get involved, get involved. They got a way to get involved. Get involved, get involved. Let's go. All right. Woo. Woo. Let's go. Woo. All right. Don't be no fool, stay in school. Let your mind become a tool. Days were made for fools to be. Locked away from society, society, society. Get involved, get involved. Get involved, get involved. Get involved, get involved. There's not a way to get involved. Come on, get off of me! Woo! I'm ready! Woo! All right, let's go! Woo! Woo! Don't be no fool, stay in school. Let your mind become a tool.
Tonight, another woman found murdered. We've got the details from the scene coming up. This as environmentalists are on the ground expressing their concern over a proposed development. And later, MPs, they weigh in on allegations against a sitting member of parliament. We've got the details on this. Eyewitness News starts now.
Eyewitness News is brought to you by BTC. Switch today to save $860 for the year on the largest fiber network in the Bahamas.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Janae Nawal. Thanks so much for joining us. Topping news tonight, another incident of violence against women being reported tonight as the body of another woman was discovered today. Police are classifying the death as a homicide. This comes just days after a mother and a 14-year-old daughter were brutally killed in an apartment complex on Ross Corner. Our Tyler Simonet on scene moments after that incident of that discovery was made. She joins me live in studio tonight with the latest on this. Tyler, what can you tell us?
Janaea, the murder count going up by 1 this afternoon after the body of a female was discovered submerged in waters in the South Beach canals. According to Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Chrislyn Skippings, the body was discovered by a group of males swimming in the area. She was also on that scene to give more details to the media.
Officers responded along with officers from the Marine Support Unit, and on arrival confirmed the female was submerged in waters. She was retrieved from the water, and upon closer examination, it was discovered that she had gunshot injuries to the upper body and the lower body. At present, we don't know who the individual is. However, she's believed to be in her late 30s, early 40s.
As for if police believe that woman was shot at another location and her body placed in the canal.
At this time, we are in the early stages of our investigation. However, we are going to do due diligence in the matter. And if we find that it is at another location, we will update you accordingly. But allow us to do our investigations. You see, officers are still on scene at this time, and they're going to comb the entire area, looking for bits and pieces of evidence that will help us solve this matter in a relatively short period of time.
Here you can see where police had to secure the body in the water before taking it out. Now, with the South Beach pools being nearby, police confirm they will be using CCTV in their investigations.
Most definitely, CCTV technology always assists us with our investigations, and so we're going to be looking to that as well.
Police also confirming that the body was clothed, but wish not to reveal any particular details to her appearance at this time. However, they assure the public they will be doing their due diligence for this matter.
Well, as usual, all incidents that occur are important to the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Every incident is important. And so the same due diligence that we put into the other matters, we're going to put into this particular matter.
Janea police are pushing for families who have not seen their female loved one in over 24 hours to go to the Criminal Investigation Department to possibly identify the victim. Investigations into this matter continue. For now, reporting live in studio, I'm Tyler Simonet. Back to you, Janea.
Thanks for that report, Tyler. Well, in other news tonight, several members of Parliament being questioned outside the lower chamber today as it relates to a sitting parliamentarian who has been accused of sexual assault. The issue making headlines this week as authorities have launched an investigation into those allegations which were made by the parliamentarian's alleged ex-girlfriend. Now, while some have declined to comment, authorities say that they expect that a fair investigation into those claims will be carried out.
Kind of late. I could come back out. It's 10 o'clock. I can talk to you later. It's 10 o'clock.
Absolutely no comments. Absolutely none.
It's under investigation. I don't know anything, much details other than what you printed. So we have to let process take its course.
The system has a process, and everything is a process. So investigation is ongoing. I believe that there's quite a lot of confidence in the police to do their investigating thoroughly and properly in the way it should be done. And when that is finished and said and done with, then the facts will be revealed. And so we just leave it just like that, allow the process to take its place.
Meanwhile, the former Prime Minister, Dr. Hubert Minnis, is asserting tonight that the sitting member of Parliament, who is being accused of alleged sexual assault, does not need to resign from the lower chamber. This, as he went on to note, that the MP in question has not been charged, much less found guilty. However, the former Prime Minister is urging authorities to uphold the law and give no special treatment.
Everybody's innocent until proven otherwise. I'm only surprised that the member is not being called in yet for questioning. Why the delay? I do not support any form of violence against women, or violence at all. And this even makes it even more important why it's essential for gender-based violence bill has to be passed. I'm concerned that he's not being called in for questioning. After all, the FNM members were called in for questions, were investigated, and dealt with, whether appropriately or not, very quickly. Why is this particular member not being called in?
Well, more sitting members of Parliament being pressed tonight about their stance on marital rape. They told our Jose Etienne that they fully support the criminalization of marital rape as the country continues to experience incidents of violence against women. Here's that report.
Former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis weighing in on the national debate surrounding marital rape, and he's of the view that it should be criminalized.
Marital rape to be recognized as a true entity and passed. Rape is rape, whether in marriage or relationship. And these are matters that has to be dealt with. And individuals should not be afraid to speak the truth.
That's a position Member of Parliament for Golden Gates, Pierre Glover Roll, shares as well.
Saying rape is rape. The context of the relationship doesn't change what the definition of rape is. It's non-consensual sex. So it's very important.
Both members of Parliament comments come as concerns are mounting as to when the amendment to the sexual offences legislation will make it to the lower chamber to be debated. This as officials maintain that the ongoing consultation process is necessary.
We have conversations with all of the stakeholders. I think we've definitely shown our commitment to getting this done. We've had numerous town hall meetings. I've been to all except one. The conversation is being had. I don't see it as being slowed down. I think it's urgent. I do think it's urgent, but due process is very important.
However, women's rights activists have criticized the consultation process, arguing that the Davis administration is using that as a ploy to drag its feet on the issue. But according to Glover Roll, that is not the case.
Every time the meeting ends, I'm present, and the stakeholders say more conversation needs to happen.
Meanwhile, Glover Roll responding to criticisms from women advocacy groups who argue that the consultation meetings have yielded no results.
Conversations were not the same. I think we get stuck at the same point when it comes to there's some persons that say yes, in terms of the stakeholders, and there's some persons that say no. So when we get to that point, and especially when it speaks to human rights and reparations, then the conversation just seems to be ongoing. But I don't think we're stuck.
Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Well, as cabinet ministers and members of parliament give their personal views on whether marital rape should be criminalized, Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Mario Bolag, had this response.
Well, I wouldn't say whether I support it or not. It's still something that is being looked at, and you have to truly look at it from all aspects, the holistic approach of it, biblically, and all other means of areas. So for me, I'm still debating and investigating the information so that when I truly decide to make a decision, it will be based on facts and what I think it should be. But I don't believe that any man or woman should be taken advantage of in any form or fashion when it comes to rape.
Well, police are tonight investigating the circumstances surrounding a 43-year-old American woman from Cleveland, Ohio, who was allegedly sexually assaulted by a male nurse on a cruise ship. Police have confirmed that a 34-year-old suspect has been arrested.
At 7:30, we received information that a female visitor was on board a cruise ship. It is further reported that she had reason to go to the infirmary, and while at the infirmary, she indicated that she might have been given some medication, and she alleged that she may have been sexually assaulted. I can't say that the matter is actively being investigated by our department. The alleged person is in custody, and so we're actively investigating at this time. I may also note to add that the person or the suspect is not a Bahamian, and so our investigations continue at this particular time.
On to some other news tonight. That parcel of Crown land that government has given conditional approval to Royal Caribbean International for its multi-million-dollar private beach club is still causing quite an upset for environmentalists who say it's just not the right fit for that plot of land. Our Theo Seeley picks up the story from here.
A 15-minute boat ride off the coast of eastern New Providence, heading westward, you'll come upon probably the most controversial piece of land in headlines these days. Not only is it home to the oldest lighthouse in country, but it could quite possibly become the new home of Royal Caribbean International's private beach club for tourists to have a taste of paradise.
They will not have a Bahamian experience at an RCL or any other private island facility. If this goes to RCI, we will call it again Hog Island.
Local environmentalists mincing no words today, expressing their disagreement with RCI's proposed development on the tiny parcel of Crown land.
We're standing on, as I said, a narrow strip of land that really cannot, it should not, and it cannot bear the environmental pressures of what is being proposed.
CEO of One Consultants, Eric Carey, led a team of environmentalists and media on a tour of the strip of Crown land today. They assert that RCI will kill the untouched gem if allowed.
They have talked about altering some little pocket beaches on this side of the island, on that rocky shore. What does that mean for the natural coastline? Altering the coastline is not a good thing to do.
And coastal seagrass is apparently under threat as well.
This sand is here because the seagrass is here. Now what's going to happen to this when they come and they put all sorts of buildings and places to lounge out on top of this?
Next concern, massive waste management for the thousands of RCI private beach club goers.
Where is it going to go? Are they going to do a deep well injection? Are they planning to pump it offshore like they do in Bermuda?
Now, as far as Royal Caribbean International is concerned, the company says it has a gold standard in protecting and respecting the environment, especially because a lighthouse sits on this plot of Crown land where the proposed development is set to be rolled out. But if you ask Eric Carey about it, he'll tell you he's not buying it.
RCI just in 2022 was rated by Friends of the Earth. They basically were given F's, failing grades, for their environmental stewardship.
Bahamian developer Toby Smith has been wrangling over the same plot of land with successive administrations for 11 years now. He's now applied for an adjacent plot of land on the same island. But will both parties be able to cohabitate?
When is enough going to be enough? And why is it that a Bahamian can't get what they've applied for 11 years ago? So, yeah, we can exist harmoniously, but coming into a relationship and trying to bully their way through Crown land, I don't think is the way to go about building a healthy relationship.
Theo Seeley, Eyewitness News.
Well, RCI executives have acknowledged the environmental concerns brought on by not only the Atlantis Resort, but various environmental groups as well. The president, Michael Bailey, says they welcome the public discourse, but wants to make one thing clear, that the approval by government is a part of an overall process where the company must meet all environmental standards. And if they may fall short, Bailey says they're willing to make the adjustments to see this project through.
We've got a green light to proceed through the process, which means that there's an agreement that this is a good project for the Bahamas. But that doesn't circumvent the requirements to be fully compliant with all of the necessary regulations that govern all of these different elements of the project, particularly the environmental element. So I think that getting a green light does not mean that the project is approved. The project has to go through the approval process. I'm trying to think of an analogy. If you're building a house, you may get the green light. Yes, it sounds like a good idea. You're approved to build a house, but you have to get all of the permits, all of the necessary requirements fulfilled before you can actually do that. The thing is that we're going through a process, and that's exactly the point of the process, is to make sure that we've got a project that really does meet the standard. And we feel confident that we'll create the gold standard. We also want to make sure that that standard's applied equally to everybody.
Well, on the heels of the Grand Bahama Utility Company proposing a rate change of $8 to some 60% of its customers effective May 1st, the East Grand Bahama MP Kwesi Thompson raising concern on behalf of the island's residents. During his contribution to debate in the House of Assembly this morning, he says there should be an independent review for the water increase outside of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, which also shares the same stakeholders as the utility company.
This day and age, in 2023, it cannot be right for a private company who supplies water to say to an affiliate private company, we're going to review you and we're going to say whether you can increase the rates for us, because in essence it's us that you are increasing the rate. You are increasing the rate for. It is a conflict of interest. It is a complete conflict of interest.
Now, Thompson is pressing government to step in to participate in this process. In response, the Minister for Grand Bahama, Ginger Moxie, said this.
I can assure you that this government, from day one, has been addressing these issues with the Grand Bahama Port Authority, and we will be deliberately focused on the regulation and how it works. There is actually a court order right now that deals with, I think, the power company and the Port Authority and its regulation, and our administration is on top of it. So you don't have to worry about that. We've got it.
Well, if you've got a news tip or if you've seen news in the making, call the Eye on News hotline at 397-6397. We also invite you to send your letters to the editor for publication on all of our social media platforms at Eyewitness News Bahamas at gmail.com. And if you're watching on our Facebook or YouTube page, share your thoughts about today's stories in the comments section. We want to hear from you. Well, we are just getting started in Eyewitness News, but when we come back tonight, the Bahamas Department of Corrections getting some much-needed help to address mental health. We've got that story coming up. And later, officials dealing with a sudden fire at police headquarters. We'll tell you all about it right after this break.
Our lives are full of action. Hey, babe.
Segment of the news is brought to you by Mobile Garage Fleet Software, the Bahamas' #1 fleet management software, backed by Azuga, a Bridgestone company. Schedule your free demo today.
Welcome back. Here's a look at your Eyewitness News gas tracker. $5.72, your local average for a gallon of gas. And today you're getting the cheapest at Shell, $5.67, Rubis, $5.71, and Esso, $5.78. Well, Centerville Member of Parliament Jomo Campbell offering his condolences to the family of Allison and Trevanika Thompson, whose partially decomposed bodies were found this past Friday at their Ross Corner apartment. Today is the first time a government official has publicly extended their sympathies to the family since that incident was reported last week. Campbell says this news shocked the community.
Madam Speaker, violence is never the right answer. And as best we can, we must always strive to be our brother's keepers. If we see or hear a crime, assault being committed, let us reach out to the Royal Bahamas Police Force and other stakeholders to save a life. Madam Speaker, may they rest in eternal peace and may their souls rise again in glory.
Meantime, a Grand Bahama man is facing charges for the falsification of public records. Preliminary reports indicate that 44-year-old Glenn Campbell of Hudson Estates between Monday, April 19th and Thursday, April 22nd, intentionally and unlawfully falsified a death registration certificate with the intent to defraud the Registrar General's office. He's not been required to enter a plea. Bail has been denied, and he's been remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections until June 5th. Well, also in news tonight, the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services will soon take a new step to assist inmates, as officials say they've noticed a growing trend of inmates being diagnosed with mental illness. Laurencia Smith has more on this.
With approximately 1,500 inmates housed at the Bahamas Department of Correction Services, more than 100 of them have been diagnosed with some sort of mental illness. Acting Correction Commissioner Don Clare sharing this much with Eyewitness News today.
But we average about 15 inmates coming in per day. And every day there is a new mental patient that comes in. But our last count that we had was 147%. It could be more now.
He also indicated that once a week personnel from Sandilands Rehabilitation Center treats inmates, which he says isn't sufficient. He noted that the government has approved 2 psychologists and 2 psychiatrists to assist.
We have on board now. We have the psychologist is on board. Now. He started about 3 weeks ago, and the other 3 professionals will be coming on stream in early July.
To aid the mental health specialist, the acting correction commissioner shares the training his officers will be undertaking.
Additionally, we are having the American Correctional Association train 30 officers next week in mental health management. And additionally, we will be sending off an additional 5 persons to Canada to be further trained in mental health management.
Claire explained that it is mandatory that all incoming inmates undergo a mental evaluation.
The Bahamas Department of Corrections, at least the old Foxville prison, was not built to handle mental inmates. Now, the new prison that the government has approved is designed for that way. But until that facility is completed, we have a block in each of the facilities to house mentally ill, at least mentally challenged inmates.
With rehabilitation and reform being the main objective for the department, Claire says addressing mental health among inmates is a new era for the department.
Oh, definitely, because mental illness for some can be temporary. With the necessary, medical treatment. But we have to treat them. We have to treat them. And just bear in mind now, you may see a mental person on the road today. Tomorrow, they are in prison.
Laurencia Smith, Eyewitness News.
Well, a mother who lost her daughter to gender-based violence last year appealing for help as she's left with the task of raising her grandson. This as she's seeking assistance from officials, but she says it's been to no avail. Our Jose Etienne has her story in this exclusive report tonight.
It's been over a year since 22-year-old Heavenly Turvius was shot and killed by her boyfriend, Finron Ferguson, at her Miami Street home on January 22, 2022. To date, Heavenly's mom, Clarmise Timothy, is still reeling from the impact of that cold-blooded murder. Since Heavenly was killed, I've cried every day. It's like I'm alive, but I'm not living. Little over a year ago, Heavenly's killer entered the same room and shot Heavenly several times as she held her son Tavon. And it's a nightmare which Heavenly's mother says she can't escape, considering that she's still residing here. I would like to move out of this house, but I'm not able to do so because of my economic standing. I cry every day. Sometimes I look at my grandson and I hug him, but my spirit is not at peace in this house. She recalls that dreadful Saturday night her daughter was killed. I sat right there when the man entered, and the next thing I heard was gunshots going off in the room. Making matters worse for Timothy, she says, Heavenly was her only support. Heavenly was the only person I had. I have no one else. She was my only help. She was the only person I had, but she was snatched away from me. But here's what Timothy says is keeping her mind intact. When I look at the baby in my arms, I start to gain strength. However, she's now tasked with raising her grandson, Tavon Ferguson. It's a responsibility which she says has been difficult for her, and at this point, she doesn't have much help. When I went to social services to get some assistance for my grandson, they told me that they can't do anything for me. That said, she's asking for your help, and if you're interested in giving a helping hand, you can reach Timothy at 821-1762. Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Jose, for that report. Well, officers from the fire department called to battle a mid-morning blaze at police headquarters on East Street. Head of Fire Services, Chief Superintendent of Police Kendrick Morris, revealed no one was injured. However, the fire reportedly caused extensive damage to the Security Intelligence Branch. When Eyewitness News arrived on scene, Fire Services had already contained that blaze and were preparing for their preliminary investigations.
The fire department responded with three fire appliances, and their respective crews. Upon arrival, we met the northern port section of a 21-room, two-story stone structure engulfed. The fire was quickly attacked and extinguished, resulting in extensive fire damages to the porch area.
Well, Superintendent of Police Dwight Adderley, who heads the Security Intelligence Branch, noted that his officers will be housed in a temporary space until the investigation is completed.
Nothing at all was damaged inside, no documents, no computers, just damage extended to the porch area. All staff are accounted for.
And how many staff work in this area?
We have about 23 persons on staff here.
In seeking to streamline the Law Reform and Revision Commission, members of the House of Assembly today debated a piece of legislation that intends to consolidate laws, recommend revisions, and simplify them for the public. Leah Cooper has the breakdown of that.
Parliamentarians debating the Law Reform and Revision Bill 2023 in the House of Assembly this morning. Leading off the debate was Centerville Member of Parliament Jomo Campbell, who states that the bill will repeal and replace the current act on the books.
In preserving our democracy and the rule of law, we must, from time to time, modernize our laws and ensure that there are no detrimental overlaps. A new revision and consolidation exercise in relation to the laws of the Bahamas is required.
The bill updates the legal procedures to be employed by the Law Reform and Revision Commission. Campbell touched on Section 6 of the bill, which details functions and powers of this commission.
Firstly, that it shall be the duty of the Commission to keep under review all the laws applicable to the Bahamas with a view to its systematic development and reform, including, in particular, the codification of such law, the elimination of anomalies, the repeal of obsolete and unnecessary enactments, and generally the simplification and modernization of the law.
He further outlines how often this commission will review said laws.
To Section 13 of the Act, subsection 1, that requires the Commission, Madam Speaker, on an annual basis to produce a report as to every single piece of legislation it considers for revision and reformation. Every piece of it. That is the substratum effect of what we are doing here today.
Now, although the bill was praised by both Campbell and members of the governing side, opposition members believe that this debate was quite frankly a waste of time.
I made the comment that instead of amending laws that we need to amend, we are amending an act that didn't need amendment but needed action. The Law Reform Commission needs to be more active, Madam Speaker.
You are not revolutionizing the Law Reform Commission. What you are doing is making changes, necessary changes, to the law. But there are so many more things. There are so many more things that actually need to occur for this to make sense.
Elizabeth MP Jo Kobe Davis, in supporting the bill, further explains why this piece of legislation is important, especially for members of the public.
Because many times we come in here and we debate legislation, we pass laws, but there's no real guidance to the public on the history of why the revision is important. There's no real guidance to the public on the scope of the project or what we are trying or intending to achieve with the revisions. And then to speak to the existing legislation and also surveys, meaning that we have passed it through the public, associations, important groups, giving input and getting guidance of what they suggest will work as a society.
The bill was passed this evening in the lower chamber. Leah Cooper, Eyewitness News.
Still to come in our BTC business feature tonight, it's a story of love and teamwork. We'll tell you all about it, but first, here's a check on tonight's weather forecast.
This portion of the news is brought to you by J.S. Johnson, Insurance Agents and Brokers, giving you peace of mind.
You're looking at live pictures tonight along East Street South, where the temperature is right around 77 degrees with an expected dip to 72. This is Eyewitness News. Welcome back. Well, a couple showing the Bahamas how important teamwork is as they take on the business world with not one but two or four businesses. Tonight, our Tyler Simonet will focus on their sports business in this week's BTC Business Feature.
This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC Business. Multiply your growth today.
To many, owning a single business is headache enough. But for this power couple, they're taking teamwork to a whole new level with 4 businesses under their belt. Eyewitness News joining Winston Burns and Tina Musgrove at the hub of their businesses, Winky's Bar, located on Carmichael Road West. According to Burns, Winky's was born out of a need for another stream of income for their family.
Winky's has been open for now about 8 years. We started out on a smaller location. Further down Carmichael Road. We kind of was forced into it because I do construction. Things were kind of slow and we needed to find a way to create some more income. Since we had the business and the license, we decided we're going to open up Winky's again at this location and incorporate all our companies in this one location.
Winky's offers a number of specials throughout the week, such as karaoke and happy hour.
Well, Winky's is a very good environment. We try to keep it grown. Barracuda is our number one dish. Not really number one dish, but Winky's are known for barracuda. We want a good piece of barracuda, safe. You come at Winky's. We have a big menu. We offer salmon, steak, fettuccine is a good hit.
Winky's also focuses on a more corporate crowd looking for a place to unwind after work.
Winky's is a afternoon night environment. So our hours are 4 to 12, Monday to Thursday, and Friday to Sunday our hours are 4 to 2. Most of our corporate clients, by the time they get here on Friday at 5, directly after they leave work, by 9 o'clock when the happy hour is finished, they're good and ready to go home after a long week's work. So
this power couple speaks to how it is owning a construction, sanitation, car rental, and bar with your significant other.
We get along good. We do a lot of traveling together for the businesses. You know, we work together in tandem. It's teamwork. You know, they say teamwork make the dream work.
The administrator, the fill-in kitchen help, the manager, wherever I need to be at any given time. Because we do it together, it's quite rewarding. Sometimes it's difficult, but because we do it together and we both have different roles that we play, it makes it pretty smooth.
Tyler Simonet, Eyewitness News.
Still to come in Eyewitness News tonight, our Devontae Hanna has the latest in sports. Good evening, Devontae.
Well, good evening, Janea. DeAndre Ayton and the Phoenix Suns say they're taking it all the way to the championship round and leaving with that chip, but they must defeat the Clippers. Last night, they tied the series. We have some of the details from that game right after this break.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Hennessy, the spirit of sports in the Bahamas.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Eyewitness Sports. I'm Devontae Hanna. Well, DeAndre Ayton and the Phoenix Suns fending off the Los Angeles Clippers last night to tie the series in the first round of the NBA playoffs at 1 apiece. The Suns surged to a 123-109 victory after trailing by as much as 13 to later tie the game at 59-59 at the end of the first half, then later coming back to outscore LA by 14 points in the second half. Now, Ayton with the double-double had 14 points on the night, along with 13 rebounds in 32 minutes of play. Ayton, though, is crediting that win to the great playmaking of the Suns and makes it clear that the Suns are going to take it all the way.
I think we have enough ball handlers and playmakers, to make the right plays, especially when we can't get it down there to me, but make other plays and, try to get somebody else open when I'm generating so much offense, rolling to the basket on a mismatch and things like that. But mainly just not overreacting and not overthrowing the ball and things like that, making sure I'm a presence down low and just making sure I'm generating as much offense as possible, no matter if it's small lineup or big.
Well, from the basketball court, we go to the soccer field as the UB men's soccer team took on the Western Warriors in Bahamas Football Association action recently. The Warriors draw first blood in the very physical match and scored off a penalty kick in the 30th minute to end the half up 1-0. Now, the Warriors scored again in the 55th minute to go up 2-0. The Warriors switched to a full defensive posture and kept the Mingos from scoring or even getting into the box more than 3 times in the second half. The Mingos went on to lose this one 2-0 to the Western Warriors.
We didn't do what we've been best at all season, that's score goals. We had an opening opportunity to really change the complexion of this game early, but we missed, blank range, and then we went out. The first goal by them was one of the luck of the draw. The guys hit the ball, it ricocheted, went in goal. The second one, put away. But like I said, I think overall tonight we did not execute offensively. They shut down Ronaldo, and the rest of the team didn't understand how to step up and make up for that void. And so probably gives us now a chance to remain in second, but we'll have to see how that goes.
Meantime, the Grifter season is not done yet. That's right, triathletes this weekend will have a chance not only qualify for the Grifter Triathlon competition later this year, but also the Youth Commonwealth Games. This coming Sunday at 7:30 a.m., the Sea Wave Triathlon Club will host its beautiful Bahamas Triathlon at Jaws Beach at Clifton in Nassau. There will be a power triathlon, sprint triathlon, and relay categories with ages 8 and under up to open men and female categories. Registration begins at $30 with sprint relay teams at $90 apiece. Well, that's a look at sports. Once again, I'm Devontae Hanna, but stay tuned. More news is right after this break.
You're watching Eyewitness News.
Welcome back. The Financial Academy is giving students the opportunity to bloom financially next weekend at the University of the Bahamas Performing Arts Center. On April 29th, the Institute will engage youth ages 7 to 17 from diverse backgrounds in learning the basic elements of personal finance. According to the founder, Lakeisha Roll, the event, which runs from 10 to 3 p.m., creates the perfect opportunity for the children to get a head start with their finances.
It's dealing with teaching them about money management skills, financial literacy principles. These concepts may be new to some of them. We're talking about insurance, business etiquette, entrepreneurship, estate planning, things that you don't necessarily hear about every day. So we have about 310 students registered. And of course, we opened up a virtual option for our Family Island participants. So we're glad to have them on board. We have about 20 of those registered as well. We have about 60 seats available. And of course, you can register online at our website, www.thefinancialacademy.co/TFA Bloom, or visit our pages on Facebook and Instagram at The Financial Academy.
On board as a major sponsor for the event is the Office of Disabilities and Compliance at the University of the Bahamas, led by Erin Brown. She hopes that the conference will help change the narrative surrounding financial planning.
We think about right now and we think about what has not been done and why hasn't it been done. But we have an opportunity right now to not only impact the present, but also the future. And so we were also glad to ensure that 20 spaces were allocated for youth with disabilities, free of charge, to attend this conference. And we have even moved now into the virtual component because we understand that that's also a challenge for persons. Transportation, being able to get there. What do you do when we get there? And so we're giving you equitable spaces and equitable opportunities to be a part of this, even in the space that you are in.
Well, that wraps up news this Wednesday, but coming up and Beyond the Headlines with Shanique Miller, a full discussion on all of today's top stories. That's coming up. And Beyond the Headlines, it starts right after this. That does it for us here at Eyewitness News. It's certainly been a pleasure having you in our company tonight. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Janae Noel saying good night and be safe, everyone.
Views and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Alive, still connected, still with you.
The debate is on. Should the Member of Parliament accused of rape be made to stand down until after an investigation into those allegations are complete? Well, women speak out tonight. Opinions flying about on social media this afternoon after police announced the arrest of a nurse employed by a cruise ship accused of raping a passenger. Tonight, we hear from the police as many are asking about the policy surrounding allegations of rape and arrests. Also tonight, are you mindful to guard and protect your mental health? Yeah, that's right. It's hugely important, and it's the start of our Friday series, Health and Wellness segment, right here on Beyond the Headlines. And so this evening, we are focusing in on mental health. That's coming up. This is Beyond the Headlines, brought to you by Alive. Good evening, everyone. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Questions are continuing on why a sitting member of parliament has not as yet been called in for questioning by the police. It's been about 2 weeks since allegations were made against the MP with someone or by someone who says she is his ex-girlfriend, accusing him of rape. And to date, as far as we know, he has not been questioned. Why many of his colleagues avoid the topic. Today, Eyewitness News caught up with former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis outside the House of Assembly to get his thoughts.
Everybody's innocent until proven otherwise. I'm only surprised that the member is not being called in yet for questioning. But I'm concerned that he's not being called in for questioning. After all, the F&M members were called in for questions, were investigated, and dealt with, whether appropriately or not, very quick. Why have these individuals, why is this particular member not being called? One has to look at that. But I will say one or two things in Parliament.
Amid these accusations, do you think he should resign from Parliament?
They're accusations. Nothing has been proven. Everyone is innocent until proven otherwise.
Innocent until proven guilty. Well, Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper told media yesterday he is confident due process will prevail in the parliamentarian probe. Today, in the media, Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of the Northern Bahamas, B.K. Bonamy, says the rape claim will be taken seriously. Bonamy also says there will be no double standard, as some are suggesting, in probing the allegation made against the MP. Well, this is causing quite a stir. Take a look at this, an interview featuring Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Crystalyn Skippings on an arrest of a male nurse employed by a cruise liner. The male nurse is accused of rape by a female passenger.
Today morning at about 7:30, we received information that a female visitor was on board a cruise ship. It is further reported that she had reason to go to the infirmary, and while at the infirmary, she indicated that she might have been given some medication, and she alleged that she may have been sexually assaulted. I can say that the matter is actively being investigated by our department. The alleged person is in custody, and so we're actively investigating at this time. I may also note to add that the person or the suspect is not a Bahamian, and so our investigations continue at this particular time.
And just for clarity, he was an employee of the cruise line?
Yeah.
Press Liaison Officer, Chief Superintendent Crystalyn Skippings. And so many people on social media today in various groups, you all all know the armchair quarterbacks in all over social media, asking what's the difference? Explain it. Well, we're going to begin this evening, first of all, by introducing the panelists, attorney Maria Daxon, who is in Abaco at the moment, and Candace Scott. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, ladies. It's wonderful to have you both here. Maria, I want to just maybe ask the most obvious question to you as we get started. You're in Abaco meeting with clients. Are these clients connected to this Member of Parliament matter by any chance?
No, Shanique. But I could tell the Bahamian people I am receiving information on the ground reference to this alleged rape. And there are mixed feelings on the ground. But what is puzzling me, Shanique, and the Bahamian people is that I'm receiving information that no police officer came in the area where the alleged rape had happened. There's supposed to be a scenes of crime person here to go to the scene to where this alleged rape had happened. But I'm getting information that none was sent here to deal with what happened in Abaco.
Maria, and I want to tap into your legal mind for a moment. Is there a statute of limitation? Because you said, and you thank you for speaking to things that the layman doesn't know. And so is there a statute of limitation? Because, I mean, how far after an event is claimed to have happened can you actually go and investigate it for something as sensitive as rape?
Right. There's no statute of limitation on rape. But, Janique, what the police supposed to do, as soon as they get the complaint, and Assistant Commissioner B.K. Barnaby, and also the Commissioner of Police, Clayton Fernanda, both of these men knew what to do. They were supposed to dispatch a team of officers, which include a policeman, preferably a police female inspector, and a scenes of crime personnel to ACO, along with the victim, to go and investigate and inspect that scene. But I'm receiving information, none of that happened.
So you're being told none of it has happened. Now, you know, people are loose with their talk, and anybody can say anything. You have not spoken with the family, you say. So this is just hearsay that you are being told no scenes of crime officers, rather, as you put it, or those who are attached to a sexual offenses unit have been to the home that it allegedly took place.
Right.
I tell you, is there a difference? We also saw police press officer, Chief Superintendent Chrislyn Skippings, talk about a matter involving a cruise ship and a cruise ship passenger. That male nurse being accused of rape has been taken into custody, arrested. Is there a difference in these cases? Like the fact that he could be arrested, and then as the Bahamas is crying for and asking, has this Member of Parliament been questioned as yet?
Sinead, the that comes to they drag their feet with the investigation. And PK Barnaby know just what to do. And in a matter of fact, Sinead, let me tell you people something. I'm here in Abu right now. They get a scenes of crime officer here right now.
Oh.
To investigate another matter that I'm involved. So where are the other officers to investigate this alleged rape? The police force owe the Bahamian people an explanation as to where this investigation is. Huh?
Well, Maria, didn't we hear, and Peggy, we heard the Assistant Commissioner of Police in Grand Bahama, of course, he's in charge of the whole Northern Bahamas, including Abaco, say, listen, there's going to be no double standard, no favoritism showed, and they are taking it seriously. Is that not enough to sort of have people just feel a bit like, listen, the police is serious about this matter?
No. Unacceptable. Shanique, if they're serious about this matter, we heard BK Barnaby, Assistant Commissioner, said we have sent a team of officers to Grand Bahama, Abaco, to investigate this alleged rape. Huh? I ain't hear that yet. I never heard the victim say the police came and took me to the scene where the alleged incident happened. You got to walk them through the scene, how it happened, the bedroom, take pictures of where it happened. Did it happen in the bathroom, in the front? I ain't hear nothing from Assistant Commissioner BK Barnaby nor the Commissioner of Police. And they know better.
And also a medical examination, eh? Isn't that also procedure?
Thank you very much, Shanique. All of that. She was supposed to get to see a doctor. In a matter of fact, Shanique, what else they were supposed to do? They were supposed to take the victim clothes, 1, right? But put the bed, 2. They're supposed to take the sheet, Shanique. Let me come and tell the Bahamian people the whole answer. I am a former investigator dealing with rape victims. Everything what they're doing now, maybe the PLP get a new policy. You don't do these things when it involve a PLP politician. Just do slump investigation. Huh? That's what they're doing.
Peggy, you heard.
Slump investigation.
What did you say? What did you say? Say that again, Maria.
Sloppy investigation.
Peggy, Maria.
As this woman came to Abaco Police Station to report this matter, they were supposed to dispatch these officers to that scene. But what I heard, they had to go into Grand Bahama and make these report. But Grand Bahama Police still ain't send no persons in the Abaco. Unacceptable.
Peggy, you hear Maria. Maria, of course, at this is really speaking as a legal practitioner and really laying what the law says. And also she's a former officer, so she's laying what the law says. Your thoughts about just what she disclosed?
Thank you for having me once again, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. It is unacceptable. I will repeat what Maria just said. It is unacceptable for so many reasons. When we compare the handling of the tourist matter on the cruise ship, immediately the alleged accused rapist is in custody. But in the incident concerning Abaco and the accused and the alleged victim, all of this push is for the investigation to begin in our mind, in the keen observer mind, because how can you be investigating a matter when you have yet, and I read in today's paper, you have yet to call in and question the accused. So where are you starting in this investigation? And if it's right, according to Maria, you ain't reached the crime scene yet. What you investigating?
Wow.
It is a very, it's disrespectful. You know, everybody say, oh, you know, this country is D average. It's D average, it's not D flat, straight across the board. And so I've watched enough movies to know that the minute there's a report, they get there, like Maria said, they take up, they get the clothes, they get the beddings, they take pictures of the crime scene, and then they are on pursuit of finding the accused. In this instance, you don't have to go in pursuit. We know he's sitting. And so he's allegedly a member of Parliament, and if I'm not mistaken, the House was in today. And so you have to take for granted that Bahamians are smarter than what you're treating us. And even though the Deputy Prime Minister expressed confidence in the handling by the police force, that is not shared by so many Bahamian citizens, civilians. Another thing, Shanique, if I were the accused, this is my name, this is my reputation.
So what are you thinking now? What are you
I'm
saying? Are you saying he should defend himself with a statement or what?
The two things that could happen, I always say this when it comes to politicians in the courts. You can be vindicated or you can be found guilty. If I am innocent, if it is not what is being said, and people are now calling him a rapist, if it is not the case, man, you're sitting there. The greatest risk to any entity or human being is reputational risk. This is happening to you. And so if you're comfortable sitting there, and even though everybody, the key word in this country now is allegedly, there are people calling your name.
Well, Maria, as a lawyer, is it in his best interest to do exactly as he's doing right now, remain mum?
No. This is in the public domain, right? This is a woman that is being assaulted, Shanice. He has to say something to Bahamian people. Huh? And what's so sad is that the police, we can have an investigation. Well, how long your investigation is going to take? Huh? Another year or so? But Shanique, you know, listen, I'm looking at something is not through my mind that the police is not going to charge this man.
Maria, no. Maria, no. Let's be fair to the Royal Bahamas Police Force, because the Royal Bahamas Police, and I know you were once a police officer, but Maria, no. The Royal Bahamas Police Force is very strong in the newspaper, not even just today, last week as well, saying they will not play around with this case. My words, but of course you heard them, they are taking it seriously. But Maria, so what do you think? They're just saying it just to have something to say?
Yeah, they saying it to have something to say, Shanique. Huh? I've been there. I did investigation with several ELP politicians, and what happened? Huh? The police them drag their feet. When the AG office would give instructions for them to be charged, the PLP, police officers, will pull the file. Huh? I'm speaking from experience. Shouldn't let me have to call nobody's name.
No.
Maria, don't call no name. Don't call no name. And everything you just said just now, allegedly. Y'all know what that is? Like, let's just spell that whole word across the street, this screen. Peggy, Maria said she, again, just as the Bahamian people are saying, she has no faith an investigation will happen. I feel differently. Go ahead.
It is a shared view. When you look at the fact that the alleged victim is saying that she was given a statement with a certain line in it that she will drop any pursuit of the matter and will no longer go to the police concerning the matter, and she refused to sign the said statement. When you look at, even though Mr. B.K. Barnaby says that they're going to start the investigation, or investigation is ongoing, who are you investigating, sir? In the same breath, you said that you have not brought in the accused for questioning yet. So who are you investigating? And then you said, we'll see how things go. You're sending so much mixed messaging, and you're losing the trust of the people. Also, for the current administration, great damage is being done.
So you see, and I heard Maria say that, and I tried to shift that in a different direction about what it does to the party. How does this affect the party? And I don't want to go in that direction because I want to come back to the matter at hand. But how does it, as you just said, Peggy? How does it affect, I guess, the way the party is seen?
Well, I only could repeat what is being said on social media. So many people are saying, what y'all expect? This is the PLP, this is what they do. They say nothing coming from this because this is who they are. And it's probably very unfair to members of that party who are upstanding law-abiding citizens, but just being quiet, so to support the party line. I know, in particular, Robin Lang, I would expect to hear from her because she is a great advocate on behalf of women.
Who's that now?
Robin Lines.
Robin Lines, an attorney. She's an attorney as well.
And I know before party came into power, she spoke out. And so these are the voices I would have expected to hear by now. Not condemning anybody. It's simple to say all rape is wrong. We do not support rape. We expect this matter to have due process. Similar statement to what the Deputy Prime Minister said. I just be concerned when he said he is confident in other people and entity besides himself, because that is taking a risk with his reputation too. Maria,
How serious an offense is what the Member of Parliament is being accused of?
It's a double offense. It's a serious offense. And Shanique, you know what? Let me piggyback on what Peggy had said. Can they start? You can't hear nothing from these PLP women. You can't hear nothing from the women that who have shifts in the street. You can't hear nothing from the pastors. Only things, for example, I just say in the country, it says marital rape. That is not the issue now. The issue is that a single woman was raped by who? A PLP politician. That's the issue. What are the women, the female politicians, especially the PLP? What are they saying? Mum's the word. Mum's the word.
Maria, and those women, and their the elected members, female members, perhaps like anybody else, as Dr. Minnis said at the top of the show, as he told reporters today, he said he is innocent until proven guilty, and maybe they feel it's also in their best interest and it's smart to remain quiet until and if he is proven guilty. Should he? Yes, Peggy.
You know, in today's paper, we had two other politicians telling the media that they support the criminalization of marital rape. Is this how marital rape will be handled once become law? That the victim, let's say the female victim, has to fight to be heard.
To prove what it is she's
not
alleging.
Not even to prove, you know, to get the attention for the process to start. That's the troubling part. She is fighting for the police to say, okay, we're going to call in your accused. We're going to take your word and call in the accused and question him. That don't mean he's going to be charged or convicted, but at least you're respectable enough. So those people who are fighting and declaring their support for the criminalization of rape, marital rape, but rape between a boyfriend and a girlfriend, silence. We are the advocates for marital rape. This is rape, and that is why to put marital rape before rape is a distraction to me.
On a different category, on a pedestal somehow. It
is rape.
Yeah.
A woman is saying that she was forced while saying no to have sex with someone that she knew she was familiar with, was in a relationship with. What greater relationship is a marriage? So is this how this country will handle marital rape if it is brought forth into law?
Good point. Quite interesting.
This is an example.
Yeah, interesting.
And then a gentleman called me today and said he was raped.
Huh?
I ain't supposed to laugh. He was raped. He told me a story that while the woman was trying to force herself, he called the police. And the police came and said, man, you need help. So he said men are being assaulted,
right?
Too,
and the mindset,
but are not taken seriously.
Yeah, the mindset is do it, man up. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you'll handle business. A lot of work needs to be done in this country because it's male dominance and it's seen a certain way, and certainly this woman should at least I guess be given the assurance that her complaints filed to the police force is taken seriously and pursued. I want to ask you all, and this is all, you know, any number of discussions are happening, and I know you both have heard it. Should the Member of Parliament, who holds also a government position, be made to stand down from that position until the investigation is over? Maria, you go first.
I agree. He needs to step down from that government position until this investigation is completed.
So,
just
but
like
people
any
are saying,
public officer.
but Maria, I would say, and you could continue right after this, but I would say he's just being accused. He's not charged with anything.
An investigation going on. This is a serious matter. He's in the public domain, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a difference if this man was in the private sector, but he is a public officer serving the Bahamian people. He is getting a salary from the taxpayers. Oh, in your position as the parliamentary secretary in the office of Prime Minister and wait until this investigation is over. Huh? They not saying with him being a member of parliament, but as a public officer, please stand down. But the PLP in power, anything likely to happen.
Maria, you trying to suggest the PLP cannot make a decision that is in accordance with the law, etc. Maria, I will not let you go in that direction. I will not. Even though you are a lawyer, yes, ma'am. Peggy, should he or should he not step down from that government post?
Well, that was my first question I posted on my page, Kenny Scott. And a lawyer messaged me and told me, according to the law, like everybody, the former Prime Minister said, he is innocent until guilty. And they remind me of the sitting member for Long Island, who has been charged with a number of crimes, and he's still sitting. And so if we're going to apply one law to one, we must apply it to the other. Yes, they say, oh, that's fraud and that's rape. That's okay. It is still the same due process. And so once that was explained to me, because, I was all up in my feelings, I calmed right down. I said, well, if this is the case, then this is fair's fair. But that also go to any other accused. If accused rapist, accused person who for rape is brought in, then he should have been brought in by now. It is about day number 12, 13. And Shanique, I just want to put this in. Yesterday I was in the food store, and I heard somebody say, Peggy, like they know me. But they watched the show, and this lady, it was two ladies, but one lady in particular, she came up to me and said, thank you. Thank you for speaking. And she was sober, she was somber, and a lot of people feel so unable to
as if they have
no
no
voice. And you don't know what these women are dealing with, but to see how this is playing out, it is very discouraging for females. It is like we going backward when it comes to the protection of women in this country. And so when she did this, I said, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And they want, I'm not a politician, I just opinionated female, but they want our females, we root for our females to be elected based on the fact that they were females. They want to hear from them. They want to hear them defend them. They want to hear them to say, like Maria said, unacceptable. That even cost your allegiance to your party to say any allegation, any rape is unacceptable. And that lady, I felt her. And she was grateful because she heard me speaking out on behalf of females.
Yeah. Maria, you have a comment as we wrap up this segment.
Okay. My fellow Bahamians, Agent gets
Maria.
Hold on. Let me see what you say. We are talking about his position as a public officer. He's sitting in the office of the Prime Minister.
Maria, he has not been identified by the police. I don't know what the law is and how it is, but don't get me caught up in the law.
And I sit here.
It's all over the place. So, the police, they know the culprit. Everybody now gonna know who it is.
Oh, God.
Everybody knows Shanique. It ain't no secret. Yes, he's working in the office of the Prime Minister.
Oh, Lord.
He's getting the taxpayers' money. Huh? It is unacceptable in country. Huh? We take after the Westminster son. Huh? He has a post. An investigation is going on. Step down until this is over. Shanique, in this country, if we, the Humans, continue to allow this to happen, somebody in Parliament is going to get hit off with murder next. And they could be sitting up in our Parliament, they could be still holding their government position. Huh? Getting paid by the taxpayers.
Maria Dotson, by the way, I want to say, the opinions expressed by the panelists, the opinions, just let this host speak for a second, please. Justin, Chance, Carlisle, anybody in the back there. The opinions expressed by the panelists are solely their own. Okay, I just want to put that out there. We're backward after this. Stay close. This is Beyond the Headlines. More after this break.
Today morning at about 7:30.
This is the super versatile Ring stick-up cam. It goes indoors, outdoors, outdoors in the rain.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines, brought to you by Alive. Well, we're going to shift gears at this time in the show this evening and talk about, remember I said Fridays, I want to talk about health and wellness. It's because as a country, really, largely we are still very much unhealthy and obese and have really poor habits that lead to that and add to that and make that happen. A part of it, I want to be holistic in the addressing of health and wellness, and I want to start this evening by talking about your mental and emotional health, which is very, very important. People dismiss it because, quite frankly, it's a sort of a frightening thing to think about and look at, but you cannot be successful and move forward and really have this incredible quality of life that we all desire unless you sort of unpack those various areas that you've tucked away so neatly and really address them. And who better with than a therapist, a psychologist. And now there's this growing movement to perhaps have that therapist or psychologist or psychiatrist be a person, a man, a woman of faith. Well, this evening we're going to talk about that. Christian psychology. What does it mean? How different is it? Is it just as impactful? Is it also something that can get you over the hump of your life, the trauma of your life? We're going to get that started this evening. And again, don't forget, on Friday, we're going to just sort of get into officially our talks on health and wellness and obesity in this country, from very young children all the way up to adults. And so certainly look forward for that. But I'm very happy to get into this. I'm passionate about it. It's something that I've been passionate about since 2017. I'm happy to also include it here on Beyond the Headlines for you, for your benefit. So listen, call up a friend, pull up a chair, let's talk about it. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Dr. Ivory Johnson. You are a Christian psychologist, a Christian therapist.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. It's good to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It's great to finally be here. It's been a while coming, but it's not your fault.
No,
it's mine.
Oh, okay then. Okay,
I accept that. I cleared it up first.
Yes, absolutely. Now, of course, you wear many hats, but in this instance, are you qualified, or just somebody you figure you're a pastor who counsel people?
That's a very great question, because I know in the sphere of counseling, I think, and specifically here in the Bahamas, that's one of the greatest challenges and concerns that many trained persons have, is that, as you so rightly said, in our country, counseling, psychology, that whole aspect is something that has always been taboo. It's always been hush-hush. We've never come to that place to become comfortable with acknowledging mental health issues or anything of that particular vein. However, the church has always been one of those places that has been forced in that space to have to administer help.
So pastors have been forced there.
Pastors have been forced to do it.
But it's unfair to them in a way.
Yes.
Of course, it's something that they do, and they do their best and do it well.
Yes.
But some of them are not equipped.
Most of them are, if we think about it from a clinical perspective, most of them really have not had any formal preparation or formal training, et cetera, et cetera. And I think one of the things that's important to state here is that, generally speaking, a lot of people think or they equate psychology with good advice, just simply good advice, or you know, in our country, the adages and all of those things that have great value, and they are valuable. But psychology counseling is a science, and it is a field that I believe, to be honest with you, from the time that I have studied psychology and counseling on a professional level, I have my undergraduate degrees in it.
Oh, okay. So you are absolutely trained.
Yes. As a part of my academic aspiration, I have a Bachelor of Arts in that area. Was actually on my way to becoming a clinical psychiatrist when I deviated more and went more in the theological aspect of it. But this whole aspect of counseling in our country, I think, is so significant because there are persons who are doing it, but they really don't have any level of training. And I'm not saying that you have to have a master's or doctorate. That's great, but there ought to be some level of preparation and training that would help persons to avoid what many of us consider to be the missteps of just offering good advice. And your intentions are good, but really, because it's unskilled, untrained, it may not really lead to the healing and help that we really want to see happen in our communities.
Which is so important, because I was speaking with somebody who is newly sort of minted as a psychologist, who just went to the doctorate level and is a psychologist and a therapist. And we talked about the trauma so many people are under.
Yes.
And in this country where it remains taboo, people don't understand that you really should have that psychologist, that therapist, somebody in your corner, whether it's once a month you check in,
yes,
however, something scheduled.
Yes.
Talk about the importance of that, and then how Christian psychology married with psychology really makes an even greater difference.
Well, what you're saying is so significant, because the society we live in now is different from like 20 years ago. 20 years ago, most persons, if they had a major life crisis, they would feel comfortable, even if they didn't go to a quote-unquote psychiatrist, psychologist, they would go to their pastor, like we said. Even though that person was untrained, what it did provide was someone to express their thoughts, someone to vent their frustrations. In the instance of traumatic events, someone that they could express their grief or whatever, you know, there was an avenue for expression. But one of the challenges, Shanique, that I believe make our time today so unique is that things like social media, etc. I mean, just look at the outrage we have right now of what has happened over the past few days. There's nothing that's secret anymore.
Nope.
And even in and among clergy, where it should have been more a confidential space, where a person's business, if shared with the pastor, it would have been confidential. I think even the church has hurt that confidence and trust that society once had, where persons knew if they spoke with their pastor, it would stay there. But nowadays we
Hold on,
found
even
that
pastors are in search of the almighty clicks and shares and going viral.
Well, that's a part of it. They want to be they're after that social agenda as well. But
Social approval.
Social approval. But beyond that, I think that because there are so many persons who have filled the pastoral space that are they themselves untrained theologically or sociologically or psychologically, in no particular sphere are they equipped and trained for that particular assignment, other than the fact that they say God has called them. And we don't question that. But my point here is that so the services they offer in many instances have been, subpar, and it has really eroded. So now people are afraid to share their innermost thoughts, their innermost concerns. And even with that, they now have very few or limited avenues that they can share, be very transparent, be very open, share their most innermost feelings, hurts, or as you said, trauma, and really not only have an opportunity to share that with the knowledge that it will be confidential, but then to share that in a safe space where they can really get good advice.
And a psychologist, a trained therapist, psychiatrist, that is a safe space, isn't it?
That's a safe space. And you mentioned earlier, and I want to talk about it a little bit, Christian counseling, Christian psychology. It is an area now that more persons are giving credence to. I think it's always been viable. When we go through the academics of psychology and counseling, for the most part, most of the thinkers that we study from only see man from two parts. That's the body and what we call the soul, or the mind and the body. However, I believe in the Bahamas in particular, it is significant that if you're going to be effective as a counselor, you're going to have to consider the spirituality, because we are a very spiritual people. I'm not saying that we're all Christians or, we're all practicing Christians, but we're very spiritual. And at the very fiber of our culture, there's still a lot of spiritual morals, different behavioral things that are do's and don'ts that come out of our upbringing in church, etc., etc. And even though a lot of people may not practice them, they are still a part of our, community, still a part of who we are and how we think. And that's what psychology and counseling is all about. And so Christian psychology, Christian counseling more specifically, it deals with that, as you talk about, that therapy where, for the most part, most mental illnesses are remedied with some form of counseling. With Christian counseling, the Christian counselor weighs in not only the therapeutic aspect of it, and that maybe that approach that from the training, but also factors in the belief of that particular individual, their persuasion. And because they marry maybe theology and or sometimes just biblical studies and that counseling, like you have like Freud, persons who believe in that school, Maslow, the hierarchy of needs, all of these things are important, but how do we put that in a Christian context? I think that's what makes the Christian counselor so powerful, and I believe in our community can be very effective.
How important is it to have counseling done and to to search it out for an overall better quality of life? Especially, many people are still traumatized, as I said before. Many people are depressed and not even know it, but triggered so easily now for the last few years. And even sort of looking and around you and seeing perhaps what you would like to do and want to do and tap into, and it's evasive to a point. How important is it then to sit with or somebody of your choice to be able to just be able to balance all the emotions that's going on in your mind?
I think it's critically important, and I think you touched something that's central, specific to our community in our Bahamas. I don't know, Shanique, if we have really dealt with this issue of the trauma of Dorian. of the trauma of COVID-19. I think everyone's trying to move along and try to get back to...
And that's also a coping, not just the best coping mechanism.
Correct.
But
it's denial.
That's what,
really, that's what a lot of people are. But in the midst of the denial, going back to the specifics of your question, we're not talking about it. When, I can say from where I sit, you still have people that are dealing with the trauma of forget if they didn't have COVID-19 or if they didn't live in Abaco or Freeport. But you have persons in New Providence who, maybe it was a family of 3. Now they have 6 people in the house, 8 people, because maybe they have relatives. Yeah. See, we don't think about these things. We don't think about the effect of COVID-19 from the perspective, do you know how many persons lost their home? How many persons are now renters that were homeowners? We don't think about the trauma of that. How do you think mentally a 45, 50-year-old person has to deal with that reality, now realizing that through this experience, they've been set back maybe 15, 20 years and almost have to restart their lives. These are the things that bring on the depression. These are the things that, like you said, now are causing people to look at all kind of alternative coping methods because they're trying to deal with these realities that we no longer talk about. Everyone is just acting as if, okay, we're going back to life as usual, but it's not life as usual.
Or get over it.
Or get over it. And you can't just get over it without having the conversation, without having the discussion. I think it's critically important that we emphasize, we encourage, we make safe spaces where persons can feel free to share, to conversate. And one of the things I've learned, I believe, in counseling here locally is that many people know the answer to the challenge that they face, but they want to talk about it. And in many instances, for those who may think...
And sometimes talking about it becomes clearer.
It is exactly.
Yeah,
for many people,
it's muddled. It's muddled,
yes,
and so
once it's in the mind, but when they begin to articulate their thoughts and they say it aloud, you know how many times I'll be in a session where persons are speaking and they'll say, I'm speaking to you, but I can already hear, my answer. They get it. You don't even need to. But as you said, if they never had that forum, if they never had that opportunity to communicate, to verbalize their thoughts, those thoughts would be trapped right there.
And so I want you to. This is really awesome and amazing. And again, we're talking about physical health, yes. Maybe a bit of financial health too, but certainly we're talking getting us healthy, mental, emotional health, physical health, and that little series, obviously ongoing on Fridays. But just give people some nuggets, maybe just wrapped into this Christian psychology for them to kind of hold on to and start exploring to begin making sense.
Well, I think it's very important as we seek to see better mental health in general in our country. As you said, one of the key components is find someone you trust. Find a place that you believe is a safe place that you can speak. I know that the Minister of Health and Wellness, that particular group of our government is now, in my opinion, taking a far more serious approach to health and to mental health and the opportunities that are there. And so our government is providing avenues now where persons can come in and they can speak. As you will see now more in our communities and as our country goes through various types of events, they are making persons available, professionals available that people can talk to. I think that's very important. But in addition to that, we don't understand sometimes how even what we eat is connected. I want to talk about that a little bit more next time, how what we eat is connected, because food brings moods.
Food is, yeah.
People don't understand that.
Well, don't get me started, because I said from 2017, I have been on every platform. I've been on the conversation. I've been talking about health and wellness, particularly what we eat. It's 80%. It's 80, perhaps even 90% of overall health and wellness, including the mental health of us. And so we'll get to that a lot. But you're so right.
Yes,
go ahead.
Yeah, food is important. And one of the things that I think we need to do, in particular, if we're going to help the next generation, is all of us as a community, we need to become better listeners. Because our young people, in many instances, they want to express themselves, but sometimes even in the space of their home with parents, their parents are stressed out. among their peers. They may not feel like that's a safe space. So there are so many pockets of our society that do not have, I believe, the outlets to be able to communicate. And I think that's one of the core things that we need to do, is make sure that we can now have conversations, be more mature. Those that serve as counselors, those that people look to for counseling, we must make sure that confidentiality once again becomes a fabric of what can be expected from those persons who will provide counseling, so that persons feel that if they come and they share their darkest, deepest
I'll tell you this, you know, guys, I think I live in like utopia somewhere and ain't live here. Here's why I say that, because people are also hesitant of Bahamian therapists,
yes,
psychologists, etc. Because a lot of y'all just do this for no reason.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
And so you must still, even in the space of all of that, find someone who has a reputation for being very professional.
And there are many persons out there. I can say to you, Shanique, that even over the last, I want to say 10 years, there are any number of younger persons who have given themselves over to the study of psychology and behavioral sciences that are out, that are now clinicians, that are becoming involved and engaged in various aspects of our society. Even in the workspace, Shanique, you know, one of the areas that many corporate entities are now realizing is that having integrated a psychoanalyst or a psychologist in their workspace, in their practices, more than just motivational speaking, but having persons there in that space can also improve persons' performance on the job, etc., so on and so forth. So I think that I'm hopeful that when we think about mental health in our country, I believe change is coming. I believe change is here. I believe as more persons prepare themselves, educate themselves, equip themselves, what I'm hoping will happen is that as these professionals begin to share what they have learned in and throughout our community with persons everywhere, that we will start looking at mental health from a different perspective. I think that's where it all begins, Shanique. We have to begin looking at mental health from a different perspective. We cannot just loosely, when we think of mental health, think of somebody that's crazy. No, we all need at various stages of our lives.
You say various stages, I say ongoing.
Yes.
There's no shame in it.
Yes.
That's why I want to normalize that right there, that topic.
Yes.
For all of us. Don't have nobody in your, and if it's an idiot next to you laughing because somehow you have a therapist or a psychologist that you frequent, then obviously disassociate yourself, because what they don't understand is how important that is. It's as important as eating well.
Absolutely.
Just as he said.
And I say this just to strengthen what you've said. I'm studied in that area, I'm trained in that area, but even I myself had a life crisis some years ago. And I submitted myself to a fellow practitioner, and as we jokingly say, sat on the couch and just had the conversation, because one of the things that you're taught is not to ever try to self-diagnose.
Yeah.
And so, I understood, even from my vantage point with the knowledge that I had, how important it was for me to get in that space myself, for my own continued mental health.
The therapist needs a therapist.
At all times, and that's part of what's happening in a lot of the pockets of our society, is that people who are helping, who do they turn to? Who do they have an opportunity to speak with and to really get the kind of mental health care that they need as well?
And
who's helping the helpers?
Who's helping the helpers? And you must have one.
Yes,
you must. My
absolutely.
God, if only to just make sense, everything going in your mind.
Absolutely.
How can people get in touch with you?
Well, I'm on social media, all the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Ivory Johnson, or you can call me at area code 242-456-4058.
Okay, excellent. By the way, I want to say that you will be back for health and wellness.
Yes, I look forward to it.
Discussion, because I am excited about that, because the Ministry of Health also has focused in on the health and wellness, the wellness aspect of it all, because obesity is a major issue. That public health care bill is huge, because again, we don't have discipline of what we're eating the wrong foods, and all that leads to is issues, and we certainly don't want that in our country among our citizens. Let's live better quality lives, and it's possible, but you have to put in the effort. I thank you so much. Thank you for
My
stopping
pleasure.
by.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. And I thank all of you for tuning in this evening. It's been a pleasure having you along. And we look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.